The Batman. Ben Affleck is out as director, but Chris Terrio is in as the writer. Who do we want to fill Affleck's director's chair? I'm Alicia Malone, and this is Screen Junkies News. This Monday night, Variety broke the shocking news that Ben Affleck was walking away from directing The Batman, which he's been attached to since last year's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Deadline then announced that Chris Terrio, Academy Award-winning writer of Argo, had recently turned in a draft of the script, which was originally written by Ben Affleck and Geoff. So the big question is, who do you want to direct The Batman? Here to give their thoughts and some fantasy casting, Joe Starr and Andy Signor.
Hey, Alicia.
Hey, Alicia Malone.
Let's start with you, Joe. Who do you want to direct? Fantasy world.
Yeah, so full fantasy world, because I don't think it'll ever end up happening. Chan-wook Park is such an awesome director. I mean, fanboys still talk about the axe fight in Oldboy, and for a good reason. It's huge. There's a reason Daredevil stole it. You know, there's a reason people keep stealing from this guy. He's amazing. You know, the action and suspense from Oldboy, the atmosphere from a movie like Stoker, his vampire movie Thirst, which was dark and brooding. These are all things that are very Batman-y, if you will. He's such a good genre director that I think he would just bring some really strong, cool chops to a movie like this.
That would be interesting.
It would be cool, right?
Yeah, I'd like to see that flavor.
And I wonder if a studio could like get in a director like that's face, who's just like, I don't really need Hollywood. I can just go back, like,
just doing my own thing.
Yeah, I'm good. And then my other pick would be Lexi Alexander, who did the very underrated Punisher Warzone, and she's also, you know, she's already doing DC stuff. She's directed episodes of Arrow and Supergirl, so she's already dipped her toe in the Berlanti-verse, so, you know, move her to the big screen. I think she'd be a good fit, especially for that action that Batman needs.
Yeah, she does great action scenes, and she can kick butt herself, too.
And I would argue, it might be more of a thing for movie fights, but I would argue that Batman has always been light on good action scenes. Nolan was great, but not a great shooter of action. And so I think bringing someone who that's in their wheelhouse would be great for the movie.
Interesting. I like it. Andy, who would you choose?
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're going just dream picks, I want someone who can, I know believes in the material and can help push the machine a little bit and say, no, we can't do that, which I don't think is going to be allowed to happen. But we said, let's go big. But I'm going to go with, I know a lot of people think, and even he himself has said he doesn't want to do it, but I want to go with Kevin Smith up first, because to me, Kevin is a legitimate fan. He's worked with Ben. I think he's come around now and knows how to do those sort of projects. The fact that he's been able to go into all this TV directing that he's done and work with these teams of established things, like these movies do have, I mean, granted, I don't, no offense to Kevin, but it's like he's not a big action guy.
Sure,
but
he'll say that himself, yeah.
But there are stunt teams that will work with him and departments that will help you do that.
I want unit director.
Exactly. So he'll have the team around him that could actually make that happen. Then he can actually focus on the character, which I think he's really good at, and I think he believes in it. I think he knows it, and I think he's a fan. And him pushing Warner to finally listen and say, no, we got to do it like this, is to me what's desperately missing from it. The other choice I have, if we couldn't go that way, is Chad Stahelski, who did both John Wick movies, and now very in demand. I think doing a new Highlander movie is the next thing sort of on dock for him. But we had the opportunity to meet him. Actually, really nice guy,
so nice,
super nice.
Yeah.
And but just he comes from that stunt world and just really has proven himself through those two films, and John Wick 2, which was I really enjoyed. I would just love to see that part in Batman, because I feel like in Batman v Justice, there was that sort of really fun moment he had where he had the fight scene, which was one of the moments I did really enjoy in Batman v Superman. So I could see him bringing some John Wick style into that.
Yeah,
that I
that
feel like,
hard-hitting,
the
street
missing
level.
action,
Yeah.
seeing a little bit of that would be fantastic. And he could sort of come in and just make sure it looks really fantastic, at least if the scripts can't get adjusted.
Yeah, some like gritty action scenes would be cool to see. I'm going to go with Dr. George Miller, because he shows, of course, many times that he can do big action sequences, he can handle huge budgets, and he doesn't lose the sense of himself as a director and something to say. You know, Fury Road had so many political messages in there, which were really interesting and great, and good characters too. Plus, it just looks fantastic. fantastic, badass action scenes. And he, of course, was interested in doing a Justice League movie and worked on that. So he obviously has an interest and knowledge of that world. So that would be my pick. James Gunn said that he would love to see Jeremy Saulnier, who directed Green Room, which is Andy's favorite film, and Blue Ruin.
You loved that one, right? Yeah.
Love that one. And he is a fantastic director, but I don't want to see him cross over to this world because he's someone that has his very particular style, and I just want to see him do more of his own thing rather
That's
than
fair.
step into someone else's world.
Although, Green Room, and I mean it in the most loving possible way
He's a
because
genre
they're my
director,
favorite thing.
yeah.
It is such a good B movie, which I'm Mr. Roadhouse. I love B movies. And sort of giving Batman sort of that B sort of pulpy quality, I think could be fun instead of a big
Something different.
Yeah, instead of a big like it's going to be on IMAX, and I think letting it be a little smaller and a little more gritty, a little more wire work and
Yeah, because it just seems like all these movies are going bigger and bigger and bigger. And Andy, when it comes to the script, you have faith in Chris Terrio as the script writer. He did work on Batman v Superman and Justice League.
Well, I mean, I don't think I don't want to knock on this guy or anything. I'm losing faith in Warner Brothers. I feel like from everything I see, they're getting too ingrained and too involved, and they're not letting sort of the creator they choose sort of run the ship in a way. Whereas I feel like the reason the Dark Knight trilogy was so great was because Nolan took a franchise that was, important, but it became what it became because he and his brother worked on the script and had a vision. And it's like, I just want someone who has the vision. I don't want to keep having these hired guns to try and
the vision and allowed to
they'll allow that to
Yeah.
happen. It's like, I would rather just reset, stop the movie, start over, and find a George Miller or someone who could a Fincher, any of these people. There's so many people out there who could do a fantastic job to sort of just like, here's the take. Okay, we sign off on that take. We entrust you to go do it.
Yeah.
Like,
'Cause
that's how movies are supposed
the
to
truth
get
is,
made.
even with the films they've already put out, like the names attached, the directors, the writers are great names. I'm sure if news had launched 2 years ago, we would have had the exact same conversation where we were like pretty excited about, Terrio writing this and that, but they've got to be allowed to execute their vision, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And it feels like, not that we want to always compare DC with Marvel, but Marvel has shown that you have someone like Kevin Feige, so you have someone that steers the ship. Then all the directors can work underneath. But if Warner Brothers doesn't have that voice that can really steer the DC universe, then I think they have to rely on the creators. And the
Right, and to be fair,
directors.
Marvel, I want to throw some shade at Marvel. It's like Edgar Wright, I'm sure
Well,
did
yeah,
not.
that's the thing.
I would
Sure.
have preferred to see his vision
That's
of
the thing.
Ant-Man.
They're not allowed their vision, but at least Kevin Feige has the overall vision.
I will
Yeah.
give them a pass to an extent just because exactly they have a sort of a grandiose vision that works, but then it's like you watch James Gunn going off sort of on a side making a Guardians, which I don't believe for a second anyone thought was going to become the behemoth
Yeah.
that it did.
Yeah.
It proves that you have to let the creators create and be impassioned to make what they want to make, because that's when success happens.
Yeah, I think there's a reason why, because the Feige vision can get a little exhausting. I think there's a reason why like Guardians and Winter Soldier, stand out. Those guys really dug in deep and were like, this is the vision. Obviously you're still the chief, but we've got these stories we really want to tell.
Yeah, you've got to fit into the wider cinematic universe, but at the same time have your own flavor. And when it comes to Ben Affleck leaving, do you believe him when he says it was just a bit much acting, directing? Do you think his film Live by Night, which didn't do very well at the box office recently, had something to do with that?
I mean, let's be honest. The films he's directed, he's been the star of, so he knows he can handle it.
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
always
I
been
think
the
when you
star.
combine those things, then plus daily studio fight, probably, that's got to be exhausting.
I mean, he has been public saying he was only going to do it if he was passionate and felt good about the material, as he should, as any filmmaker should. So the fact that he was probably doing that, I would assume, maybe made Warner Brothers go like, "What's going on? We got to make this movie. We got to make our money." So I hope that's not the case, but that's what it reeks of, a little bit of like him stepping back, saying, "Fine, I'm not going to be as involved then if you guys are going to rush this through, because I don't want to do that right now." And Live by Night wasn't a huge hit, and so I think that sort of probably gave Ben Affleck pause to make sure the next one he does really is not something that's going to get screwed by other influences.
Yeah, and it's always a bit sad when you see people like, it reminds me of Robert Downey Jr., who was so passionate about, what was that film called that he did? It was very, the
Was
judge.
it the judge?
He was so passionate about that.
One of the best law movies
Which wasn't the
of all
best
time.
film, and I
No.
think that he learned a big lesson there that people want to see him as Iron Man and not so much as anything else. And I think Ben Affleck, he was very tired of getting asked the same questions about Batman while he was promoting Live by Night. So maybe he wants to step back a little bit as much as he can while playing Batman.
I would not be
I don't know.
surprised if he isn't Batman.
Yeah.
I'll put it out there.
Walks away from Batman altogether. Well, thank you guys for joining me, Joe Starr, Andy Signor. Appreciate it.
Always fun.
Thanks for
And
having
we
us.
want to know, who do you want to direct the Batman? Do you have any choices, any fantasy picks you would like to give us? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click over there for more stuff from Screen Junkies News. You can also follow us on Twitter at SJ News. And we'll see you soon.